Well, staying with the story and joining us now is SABC News Afrikaans news anchor and editor Danielle Wass. Danielle, a very good afternoon to you, or should I say goeiemiddag?
Goeiemiddag. Goed en jy, Nati?
Baie goed, dankie. So I read your article commemorating, today and its symbolism. And I mean, you wrote a very rich and personal account of what today means. You were the first black Afrikaans bulletin editor on the Afrikaans desk. You also read the Afrikaans news. What does today mean for you?
I think it is something that you can't explain. It is when people talk about heritage, then it's like colored people don't have a heritage, And today I'm like so proud. I have a heritage, and my heritage is so closely knitted to Afrikaans. So when I was thinking about this month coming, this day coming, I was so proud. Now I have something I can say, guys, my heritage is so closely knit to my language, Afrikaans. So I'm no more a colored without any heritage.
Fantastic. I mean, also in the article, I like how your reflections, beautifully straddle geographies. I mean, you speak about the Northern Cape, Daniel Scale, Jan Kempdorp. You speak about the Free State. Of course, you went to your university there. And of course, you're in Gauteng now. Just growing up in the Northern Cape, how did that influence, your sentiments about the language? And it is a complex language. It does have a dark element to it when you think about 1976. But obviously for you, it's sentimental. It is your language.
It's deep. And to think that I was born in 1976, that is not lost to me, So when I commemorate 1976 and I'm thinking about people who've lost their lives because of my language, something that I grew up with, something that is so deeply a part of me. I can't separate myself being me without thinking in Afrikaans or thinking that I am Afrikaans. So like you said, Northern Cape growing up, and I was not only growing up in a town. I was growing up there at the outskirts, and the Kleinhoevers, or the Plotter. That's where I grew up. So I didn't hear any language. So Afrikaans was the only language and it just been my whole being, being filled with Afrikaans. So it has formed me, it has transformed me to who I am today. And like you said, it took me like from deeper, the Green Kalahari coming into Jan Kempdorp and then to the Free State and Gauteng. Even here, I have a lot of people that speak Afrikaans. I can still, I'm staying close to Westbury, I'm staying in Sophiatown. So there's a lot of Afrikaans still going on where I'm living.
And there's a lot of different lingos too. I mean, when you talk about, coming from the Plus and then you're moving to the Free State and then you study BA Communication Science in Afrikaans, political science in Afrikaans. I mean, how do you then weave yourself through the different languages? Then you come to Joburg and it's like different lingo altogether.
Yes. I remember when I was going to varsity, and then I always tell this when I met my husband and his group of friends, and they were saying to him, hey, where did you get this model C girl? And actually I was just growing up in a normal colored community. I went to colored schools until matric. I never went, because I remember my mom asking me in grade 9, the now grade 9, I was standard 7, and she was asking me, schools are open, you can go to a white school. I said, to do what? I'm comfortable where I was. And when I went to Free State, and I was one of 3 colored people in my class that did Afrikaans. So I was surrounded with this white people in my class, and I was one of 3 people that was doing my course in Afrikaans.
You're a journalist, of course. How do you reconcile, I mean, we touched a little bit about, obviously, 1976, and then you have, youngsters today who don't understand why people would still want to speak Afrikaans, but you love the language too, because it is part of who you are. You even have this deep appreciation for the Afrikaans literature. What do you then say to young people coming in and listening to this beautiful language, but also that has this complexity to it?
I always think about 1976 in Afrikaans, and I also say, people, let's go to, I don't want to compare it, but there's the Holocaust that happened in Germany. Somewhere Germany had to get itself loose from this horribleness, And I'm just telling people what was used as a political tool. There's people behind it. There's people that speak it. There's people that can't express themselves in another way than in Afrikaans. So let's loosen this thing. Let's unshackle Afrikaans from the hurt, the pain. And now, there was a time, like you said, I was the first black Afrikaans woman, a bulletin editor here. And I had to come back and say, hey, this is also our language. Let's take it. Let's embrace it, you know. And today, the people that speak the language in South Africa the most, according to the census of 2011, is colored people, 54% of the people. So now we can go and say, it's our language, but I don't want us to do that, Unati. I want us to say, it's everybody's language. Anyone.
And there is that deep pride, you know, in speaking the language and being able to, because I hear it a lot when people are being interviewed, they'll always say, oh, because I'm Afrikaans, you know, because there is that appreciation of it is part of who I am and it is my culture. So, you know, as we wrap up our conversation, as the bulletin editor, and I'm going to say this in Afrikaans, wat kan ons verwag vanaand?
In die nuus, in die bulletin. Okay. So ons is 9:30 op SABC 3 en hierdie mooi pakkie wat julle gesien het van Mariska Botha, dit gaan wees in Afrikaans. Die mense wat gepraat het, gaan al daai up sounds gaan in Afrikaans wees. En dan gaan ons ook kyk na die EFF wat gaan na Oranje, wat voel hulle het Afrikaanse mense gekry in Warrenville en Warrington. Ons gaan daai storie vertel en ons het ook die heropgrawing van San Khoi mense wat uit Skotland in 'n museum uitgestel was en dit gaan ook 'n storie wees wat Ulrich vir ons gaan vertel in Afrikaans.
Well, we don't want to miss it. You heard it all. Jy het dit hier eerste gehoor. Thank you so much, Danielle Wass, and she is, of course, the SABC News Afrikaans anchor and editor right here, just giving us a sense of how, you know, the Afrikaners and Afrikaans-speaking people are commemorating 100 years today of the Afrikaans language.